Number 1, the graph represents the distance in miles of a town from the thunderstorm given the number of seconds between lightning flash and hearing thunder. So I'm noticing that on this graph, the x is the seconds and the distance is the y. So A is asking, given that the rate of chance is 0.2, what does that mean in context? So when I'm looking at the word rate, I know that it's talking about the slope. I'm also noticing that there is already a equation for us to deal with. So they want to know, what does 0.2 actually mean in this graph? So if we remember the Domino's pizza, we said that it was $1.49 per topping. So that means every topping that I add on is going to cost $1.49. So if I'm looking at D, which is distance, equals 0.2 times the amount of seconds, then I can take the same context and say that it's going to be 0.2 per second when it comes to the thunderstorm. We can also say that it's traveling 0.2 per second for each mile as well. They're asking, is the relationship proportional? Now in 7th grade, you learn that the relationship is proportional once the line starts at the origin. And in this case, it does. So yes, it is proportional because it starts at the origin. And remember that the origin is 0, 0. If there are no miles or no seconds, then there is no distance either. Assuming that the graph continues at the same rate, how far away is a town if the number of seconds is 50? So if I look at the equation, D equals 0.2 s. The s represents the seconds. So I can go ahead and substitute the 50 in seconds and see what my answer is going to be. And in this case, if I take 0.2 times 50, I get 10. So the distance is going to be 10 miles away. Number 2, it says show the linear function y equals negative 2x plus 3 in the following 3 ways. I need to create a table. So whenever we create a function table, we can do it vertically or we can do it horizontally. So I have my x and my y. And my x could pretty much be any number that I want. So I'm going to start with 0 because that's an easy number to work with. If I put 0 in the x, I get y equals negative 2 times 0 plus 3. So I end up with y equals 0 plus 3. So y equals 3. So I have the point 0, 3. Next, if I put 1 into x, I have negative 2 times 1 plus 3 equals y. So y equals negative 2 plus 3, which gives me y equals 1. So my next point is 1, 1. So I want you to go ahead and create one more point on your own to complete your table. Then it says to graph. And since this equation is already at y equals mx plus b, I can go ahead and plot the y-intercept first, which is a positive 3. This sign right here always goes with that y-intercept. So positive 3 on the y is 1, 2, 3 right here. That's my initial value, my starting point. Now I'm noticing that the slope is negative. So it's going to be negative 2 over 1. So a negative 2 and a positive 1. So negative 2 means you go down 2 and to the right 1. So here's my new point. I'm going to continue down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. And here is my linear graph. And I can go ahead and find a straight edge and connect those dots together. I can draw arrows at the end since I'm not really sure what the context is in this story. Then it says create a visual pattern or a life situation that can be modeled by the equation. Since 3 is what I'm starting with, I can say that I started with $3 and owed $2 every day. And I know this because if I'm owing somebody, that means it's a negative. So I started with 3 and now I owe $2 every day, and X will depend on how many days passed, and Y will tell me how much money I'm going to owe at the end of everything.